We're going to pause this. Hi, welcome and good morning to episode 4 of Coffee Talk Live. My name is Coach Connie Pastorius. I am the showrunner here in Strong as a Mother. I'm an online wellness, fitness, and nutrition specialist. And I'm hosting my own little live talk show in the group for moms to clarify, explore, explain, and share what it means to live a sustainably healthy, nutritious, and just awesome life. And today I am so excited to introduce to everyone Kim Calichio of The Connected Chef and Lifeline Grocery Delivery. Good morning, Kim.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy to see you again. So like a lot of my other Coffee Talk interviewees, this relationship started around or near when COVID started. And with you and me, I was kind of being interviewed by you, and we were preparing to start working together in your brick and mortar space. And then, like, right as we were about to have an in-person meeting, the whole world shut down, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So here we are, 1 year's worth of evolving later, and I'm so excited to discuss with you what has happened and what this evolution has done for your business, and a little bit more about the community. So before we start anything, what's in the cup? What are you drinking today?
Oh, I have some Mighty Oak coffee today, which is local Astoria coffee.
Excellent.
Really good.
Nice. I too am local. I was just telling Kim about where I'm at in my lake house has a very little amount of anything in town, but they do have a coffee roaster. So I am drinking Aegis coffee roasters in a special mug my husband had commissioned for me for Coffee Talk. So bonus points to the husband. That's awesome. Mighty Oak is one on Ditmar's side that I don't often get over to because I'm on Broadway side, and that's just like, that's the way it is in Astoria, which is hilarious.
They are the only wood roasted coffee rotisserie in New York, actually, which is pretty cool. And they do it right there on site. And their coffee is like just divine.
That's amazing. Maybe we'll get them on Coffee Talk Live one morning. I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that would be amazing.
So let's talk about you though. So Kim, you could probably just talk the entire 30 minutes about what's going on in your life and your business, but let's start with how the Connected Chef was at the beginning of COVID, a little bit about what it is for anybody who doesn't know, and what it evolved into because of the last year.
Definitely. So pre-COVID, the Connected Chef has always been about utilizing food as a way to come together, create community, connect with one another. I was a restaurant chef for many years before I became a mom. I'm an avid nature lover. And so food to me is the base of everything. I mean, for all of us, it's the base of everything. And so the Connected Chef pre-COVID was really a place where we utilized food as a way to teach people how to build a better relationship with food, how to come in better relations with where your food is coming from and how to prepare it. And we did that through cooking classes and gardening classes with both kids and adults. I specifically, as a parent, I saw the struggle that food created for so many households, and wanting to speak directly to that and give folks support around how to make sure you can cook really delicious food and not fight with your kid and like be happy about it. So that was our goal. And then, like you said, we were ready to open a brick and mortar space in April. It was due to open the first week of April of 2020. And then COVID happened, and that all the things that we worked up to closed. But what we also, so when I say we, I mean us as an organization, but I also mean my husband and I. My husband is also a restaurant chef. And when him and I saw what was happening in front of us here in Queens, being restaurant chefs ourselves, the whole industry collapsed essentially. And we knew very deeply how all the people that we know and love in our family and our friend circle and our outer community were now out of work and didn't have the ability to collect unemployment, or they didn't qualify for stimulus checks, and they were a paycheck away from not having enough food. You know, historically, restaurant workers are not millionaires. And so there's not a lot of money in the savings account. So we just really knew that people were about to struggle in a really deep way. People who were already struggling were now left with trying to figure out what they were going to do next week. And so food, again, is our medium. And so we decided, you know, the one thing that we can do is try to help people have groceries, because there's a really specific stress around food insecurity and not knowing when your next meal is going to come or how that's going to get on the table, especially when you have kids. And we didn't want people to have to worry about that. So we started leveraging all of the relationships we had, both business and personal. And that's how we created Lifeline Grocery, which is started as me and Omar, my husband, delivering 25 groceries to families across both Brooklyn and Queens with our kids in the back seat of the car, and has evolved into this amazing initiative that is 100% community-based. We have over 100 volunteers. We bring over 700 families direct delivery of nutrient-dense groceries every single week. Which is mind-boggling when every time I say it. Like, it was not our intention to create something, you know, that lasted a year and that was this scale. But we just responded to what was needed, and it took on a mind of its own, and it's a beautiful thing. So that's what we're doing now.
And that's incredible. And there's like kind of 2 points in there that I wanted to touch on. One of them was that how you had an interesting perspective on what was happening in the community because of who you are as a chef and what you understand about the food industry. When COVID hit, a lot of people in the common mentality is like, whatever's happening to me is what's happening to everybody else. So people who are still employed, or at least had one income in the house, or didn't have kids, or didn't work in service industry, they didn't understand what was really happening and how it was impacting. And you kind of knew preemptively, almost as if the Connected Chef was organically making its way to this, being prepared for this moment. Yeah. And what ended up happening, and I think you and I both saw this right at the beginning when this happened, when COVID happened, was there were a few people there were a few people in the community, in the neighborhood, in the world, who were able to see what was happening and then immediately raise their hand and be like, I know how I can help. Like, I know how I can contribute. I know how I can support. And those kinds of helpers who are probably very tired right now are the people that hold up our communities and are doing the groundwork and doing the hard work and understanding it and absorbing all this emotional stress that the whole I'm saying community a lot is experiencing, but really you're one of those people. And like this is kind of where we start going into what it means to take care of your community and to have community wellness. So do you want to talk a little bit about how Lifeline is impacting the neighborhood, what you're seeing happening because of this?
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important to say too, and we work really intentionally and really hard to have this be kind of like the baseline of our work and our organization as a team too, is that how we take care of ourselves is how we're able to take care of one another. And that is the basis of all of this. We couldn't do this work if we didn't prioritize ourselves as much as we needed to. And I think that as parents, that's very much holds true as well. You know, that whole put your oxygen mask on first kind of thing. But somebody said to me one time that it was, however much you're able to love yourself is how much love you can put out into the world. And that was, for me, that was like, oh, well, now I need to love myself because I really want to love the right. I really want to do all these good things, and I actually can't do them if I don't love myself. And so, as an organization, as personally, as a family, we really try to balance that and make sure that we have the ability to like lay in my bed when I need to lay in my bed, like go on a hike as a family, or like have fun as an organization, as a team together, and doing those things. And that just exudes itself out into the work that's being done and into the community. And that's really important. And so when we talk about this, idea of community wellness or collective wellness, it's really about starting with ourselves first, holding ourselves accountable to taking care of ourselves, and then from that place saying, okay, listening and responding, not reacting, and saying what is our community saying that they need, and what are my special skills that I can bring to the table. And I think that's the basis for all of that, but it starts with us. And I also think that when we're talking about, making really big change, it's the same thing. We're starting small, we're starting local, with your local community, your neighborhood, people on your block, and then that energy and that momentum continues outward. And I think that that's always how we are creating here at the Connected Chef.
Yes, that's such a cool line that you said, like, the amount of love that you have for yourself is how much you can give. And that is really like, the foundation of how I coach, and having like a healthy relationship with fitness and nutrition. And that's, that completely perfectly aligns with how I operate as a fitness professional, because there's definitely a lot of ways to get to, your workout, whether it's because you hate yourself, because you hate the food that you ate, the mistakes that you made, or guilt, or self-sabotage, lots of things, but those don't create sustainability in yourself. And it has to be, you don't have to start at this place of like showing up for yourself, for your health, for your fitness. You don't have to start by showing up with all this self-love. Like, you can start with wherever you're at, but understanding that like the long-term goal is to do something because you love it, and because it's a part of you, and you believe in it. So exactly, yes, whenever like moms stop sacrificing their health and their happiness and what they want to do in the name of being a good mom or being a good employee, and start prioritizing their own health in whatever ways that matters, then they can start to, the amount of love, like you said, that you can give to your family, to your work, to your passion projects, it just is exponentially greater. So here we are. And, as a fitness professional, like, this is my background, like, we sit on our high horses and have talked about the, how hard it is to have healthy behaviors in lower income communities because of their lack of access to healthy, nutritious food.
Right.
And then this is exactly what you're doing with Lifeline.
Yeah.
And like, I want to, so tell me more exactly about like where this food's coming from, how you guys acquire it, how you're distributing it, and if it's just for particular types of communities or families, or if we can buy them ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Healthy food is a human right. We should all have access to the same kind of food, regardless of our background, income, race, immigration status, any of that. We are all human beings, and we should all be able to have really healthy, nutritious food that comes from the earth and that is grown with love. And so how do we make that, that is what we want at the Connected Chef for everybody. We do that currently by sourcing our food from local farms in the New York, Pennsylvania, and Jersey area. We work directly with a couple of farms. We have a distributor that only works with small farms that we've built a relationship with. And that's where our food is coming from, because it starts in the soil. And if we're getting our food from, factory farming and from places that it's all about extraction and profit, that's going to translate down the line. So it's important for us that where we're getting our food is wholesome and, again, with love. So we get our food in from local farms. We bring it into Long Island City, where we have our distribution space. We repackage it into individual grocery bags and boxes, and we ship it out to everybody in Queens. The really unique thing about what we're doing is we started out with Lifeline Grocery that was free. It was designed to prioritize families who didn't have the same access, who didn't have the ability to purchase their food in any way. But we also learned very quickly that there are different pockets within our community of people who can afford food at different rates. And because we believe that the amount of money that you have should not dictate what kind of food you're eating, we wanted to make sure that this really good food was available to everybody at any price. So we created a sliding scale model where people can opt into this sliding scale model, and you can get a free package, or you can spend $50 for your grocery package. And regardless of what you're paying, you're getting the same exact food, the same amount of food, the same quality of food. So it really levels the playing field, and it is action behind this idea that everybody deserves the same. And so we also direct deliver, because we know that as New Yorkers, it started again with Lifeline, understanding that pantry lines around Queens were 6 blocks long. People were waiting in line, and still are waiting in line for hours to get their food. They would get to the front of the line and there wouldn't be enough left, or they would get to the front of the line and it was like not good quality stuff. It was processed chicken, or like, a ton of milk and not a lot of vegetables. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to just deliver a package. I mean, there's nothing more privileged than being able to sit in your house and order your groceries and have them come to you. And I remember when I had my second son, I was like, I'm doing that. I want somebody to bring me my groceries. And it was an enormous help to be able to not have to trek outside with a stroller and a kid on my back and like go grocery shopping in New York City. So being able to eliminate barriers, and not just in terms of financially, is part of the solution. So every week we direct deliver these groceries. So they come straight from the farm. We repackage them as a community. We listen to what it is that people want. And we also have the ability for folks to do add-on packages as well, which means that we work with local businesses like Astor Apiaries, Benchflower, Bakers, Mighty Oak, to give people the option to purchase additional things into their grocery box. So what does a grocery box contain? A grocery box is fruits and vegetables and grains. Every single box includes 6 to 7 varieties of vegetables, 2 to 3 varieties of fruit, and 2 pounds of grains. And it's about 25 pounds of food altogether. And it's meant to be enough to last you through the week.
That's an insane value, like beyond like the nutrition factor, like to get such locally sourced products, such a variety, so much. Like this box should probably cost like $75 to $100, it sounds like. But I'm just trying to do the math in my head of like getting the stuff from the farmers, making the agreements, getting the packaging. Like, how does this all work?
Well, and a lot of the times people will get subscription boxes like Misfit a misfit box, or like the sun boxes, all these different meal programs and grocery boxes. And it's a similar model, except for the fact that we have the sliding scale, and except for the fact that it's all local stuff that's coming and directly supporting the community. So the folks who are employed by us are all restaurant workers who were out of work and wouldn't have had jobs otherwise, including ourselves. They, the farms themselves and the local businesses themselves rely on our food supply chain to make a living. And so it's important to be able to contribute to this economy, but in a way that's not, again, like extracting or harmful to the communities that we're serving. We want to do it, and we can do it, and we are doing it in a really positive and impactful way. Yeah, and so the value is astounding. A friend of mine first did the package when we started, and she tracked how much she was saving and was able to save, I think it was like $50 a week, or like $150 a month. It was something substantial in terms of her food cost as a family, and that was for a family of 4. So on top of being healthy, on top of contributing to your local community, supporting our Lifeline grocery program, it also saves you money.
Yes, and I think that's a huge point that maybe was a, I don't know a better word than like rude awakening, or just like a realization of how much money we were spending on food.
Yeah.
And now when we have these kinds of opportunities, so when someone gets like this package, the grocery box, for example, how do they know what's in it or what to do with it?
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's the great thing about being chefs. We get to help you with that. So every week, here's like I'll give you the overview of if you want a grocery package, you go onto our website, you click on buy a CSA box, and you go through and order your box. And it's a subscription based, which means that Mom Brain doesn't have to get you every week, and you can just go. Yeah, exactly. It just automatically renews, but you also have the option to stop, pause, cancel, and change it at any time. And we'll help you with that along the way. Once you order your box, we start processing that. Every Monday, we order the food from the farm. So we contact our farms and our vendors and let them know how much of each item that we want, and what items we want. And then every Wednesday, you get an email that says, this is what's in your box. This week, you're going to get, so this past week, we had collard greens, celery roots, acorn squash, yellow beets, red onions, and thyme was the vegetables. And then apples and pears were the fruits. And then we did polenta and couscous for grains. And so you get an email that says, guess what you're getting this week? Here it is. And then it comes on Friday. In that email that tells you what you're getting, it also gives you some recipe ideas of like, when you do get your box, these are some ways that you can prepare it and some recipes that you can use. We're now starting to partner with some local chefs as well, who are posting Instagram and Facebook videos about what you can do with this stuff and how you can cook it. And it's really exciting to like Saturday is usually the day you get your box on Friday, and then by like Saturday, Sunday, we'll start to get tagged in all of these pictures of like people cooking their food, and they're like, this week it was like, I made acorn squash. Somebody else made borshanks, like stewed borshanks, because we now are working with the local Hudson Valley farm too, so we can get meat as well. But it's cool to be able to see like what people are doing with their food. Always are getting emails and questions around like, what is this thing and how can I cook it? And so that's always welcome also. We're a community, and again, like, it's really about us taking what we know and sharing it with the rest of the world. And so we want you to get this grocery box, and we want you to ask us like, what the heck is polenta and how do I make it? And we want to be able to help you with that. So that's the other great thing about it being a small community and a small group of folks, is that we get to do that, and we get to have that connection and that community aspect of things.
Connected Chef.
Exactly.
So what I'm hearing is that, like, as a chef, as a cook, I'm nowhere near your level of expertise, but I've worked in the kitchen before. I've owned a baking business for a very small period of time. And what chefs love is to create amazing food and to know the people are enjoying it. So
Mhm.
now you've created this opportunity to have people sharing on social media and to see in their homes, like, these are the people that we're directly impacting, and they're enjoying the food, and you still get to, like, have that little chef hat on in the back of your mind and say, like, oh, I helped them make this, or I'm teaching them things. And it's just such a really cool, like, evolution of, where you started in your culinary career to where you're at now, but it's still, at the root of it.
Mhm.
um you're still helping people, enjoy their food and have something nice, and teaching them along the way, which is just incredible.
Yeah.
So where do you what's the grand plan, like, without, unveiling too much surprises for us, but, like, where do you see this going?
So right now we have our community CSA box, which is the sliding scale program that we've been talking about. And we have our Lifeline grocery program, which is our completely free food relief program. Our goal this year is to integrate those two things fully, so that we have one program that people can purchase a box for free, or there's no separation between that. The importance for us of that is twofold. It's that internally as a group we're able to, like, just do the same thing for everybody that we're supporting and helping, but also that we're always looking at the current systems of food, and when I talk about a system of food, that's basically how the food gets from the earth in onto your plate, right? And there's systems at play that influence that. Most, if not all, I will say all of the systems currently at play are harmful, and they are harmful to our planet. They're harmful to our communities, and they're not working in a good way. And so one of the most important things to us is that as we're creating new ways, we're ensuring that we're creating new systems that can replace these old ones that are historically based on oppression and historically based on making sure only a certain group of people have access to food and education, housing, all of those things. And so wanting to make sure that that's in the forefront. So this year, it's about ensuring that how we're doing the work continues to be in integrity with our values, and we're uplifting our community, and we're making sure that that work just digs deeper. And so what that means is that that's a very, like, heady explanation, but, like, tangibly, that means we're integrating our CSA and our Lifeline programs. That means that we're going to start having, as long as COVID is okay with it, we're going to start having, like, outdoor community events where people can gather together and they can go ahead and see this food getting prepared, help one another, and be a part of this community. Right now the ways that people can connect with us are by, of course, donating to the work that we're doing, volunteering every week by doing packing or delivery of groceries, and also by getting this grocery package. Like, we all need to eat every week, and we all go and buy groceries. So why not buy a grocery package through us? Healthy food supports your community. It's just everything about it is all the things that we want for our world and our community. So this is the place to be able to start. We talked in the very beginning about starting small and with yourselves. This is a way that you can make a really small change in your decisions and have a huge impact on what that actually does for the world. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And you kind of reminded me of, so yeah, helping the environment is such a big broad statement that, someone asks you on the street, like, do you care about the environment? And you're like, yeah, I care about the environment. But like, it's not as tangible as to how a single person can make a difference. And, back, if anybody listening has read Organic Manifesto by Maria Rodale, she really laid out why like conventional farming has really wrecked the country and how it's a long process to get back to sustainable agriculture and healthy organic practices. Back when I read that in like 2010, organic was not mainstream yet. And 10 years ago, 2010 doesn't sound like that long ago, but wow, what's changed in the course of a decade. And we're in the process of recognizing, I just watched a Chipotle commercial during the Super Bowl last night about this exact conversation about how food from the source matters. It was a good one. You should look it up if you didn't see it. But anyways, you're showing us and you're seeing this is exactly how community-based organizations are taking small steps that impact in such a greater way. And the more that we support and lean into those kinds of opportunities, and when we know where our money's going, if we exchange $35 for your box versus $35 for HelloFresh or whatever else is out there, if you are the person on the street that says, yeah, I care about the environment, yeah, I care about my community, this is a great opportunity to put your money where your mouth is and actually know what's happening and why it's impacting in such a great way.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you said we can go to your website. What is that website?
theconnectedchef.com.
theconnectedchef.com. And you're also The Connected Chef on Instagram and Facebook.
And all the places.
All the places. And you asked, I was going to ask, like, what can the community do for you? And you mentioned that we can volunteer for distribution purposes. We can buy the box. We can share the word. And what else? Is there anything else that you want to make sure that people know about or help out, lend a hand?
I think it goes back to that first half of our conversation around, we all can be overwhelmed, especially with COVID and remote school and like all the things that parents have to deal with and have to face every day. And it's exhausting. And so when we're thinking of that big picture of like all of the things that we need to manage every single day, like if I focus on that, my head will most definitely explode. But needing to really like rein it in, like, okay, right now I'm gonna like be present with myself right here, think about what are the things that are important to me, my community, my family, and just focus on what's right in front of you. And I'm sure that you talk about this with your clients too, of like, focusing on your particular day, and what you can do in that day to move a little bit, to eat a little healthier, and include in that supporting your community and like thinking about the experience of others, because it's easy to kind of get consumed with what's happening in our own life. And just the knowing that my experience as a white woman is not the same as anybody else's experience, is a step in that direction, and needing to be able to, have that awareness and then take those small steps to start making change.
Perfect. Small steps, big change.
100%.
That's it right there. So the last thing that I do like to ask all of my interviewees is, what was one thing that you realized, did, or purchased in the name of self-care over during quarantine that has impacted you the most, or that you wanted to share with us?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'm really bad at self-care. Like I have to work really hard for it. But for me, self-care is less about a thing and more about like mental space. And so one thing that I've done over quarantine is create really strong boundaries for myself around like not spending time with my kids, when I get to like go out for a walk for myself, and working on not feeling guilty about those things. Like that has been very necessary and impactful for me. Yeah.
That's spot on and perfect. I downloaded the Calm app and I bought it for a year. And I listened to like bedtime stories. So that was one of the biggest things I needed, was like something nice to fall asleep to.
Yeah.
And that was like the self-care I needed. So yeah, there's no wrong answer here. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Kim. It's so good to see you and talk to you in person. Please keep us posted. Keep fighting the good fight, asking for help. You are great at asking for help when you need it. And I love seeing the opportunities that are always there. I get back to Astoria, I'm going to buy one of these subscription boxes and see what I can whip up myself, and I will share it, and I will, it'll be delicious, I'm sure. So cheers. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. And stay strong, Kim. Have an amazing day. And everyone listening, thank you for tuning in for Coffee Talk. This is Mondays at 10 a.m. in the Strong as a Mother Facebook group. Please feel free to join. All moms are welcome. So take care, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.